Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, we're going to be getting into this book right now. The Sacred Network, Megaliths, Cathedrals, Ley Lines, and the Power of Shared Consciousness by Chris H. Hardy. I've shared this book before, but I would suggest if you don't have it, try to get it. We get into some more deep information. And you're going to see how the other nations have been pretty much just taking our information for themselves and trying to repackage it and give it back to us like it was them in the first place. But now through the power of the Holy Spirit, we're able to see through their lives. They didn't have this knowledge and understanding before. So once they got it, they had to make sure that we didn't know that we had it before, so they could try to act like they were the originators of this kind of information. First part here we're going to get into. It's just a really small little snippet here about the ritual circle. And you're going to see, who they're actually referencing as to the ones that were actually using this kind of, these circles with the node in the middle. And they were talking about how actually the Native Americans would do their, circles, and the fire in the middle would kind of represent the node in the middle of this ritual circle. So let's read this really quick. If we focus on the circle symbol in rituals and religions, okay, an entire book would not suffice to assemble all its occurrences worldwide. We can note a few examples of a sacred circle of people. Many sacred rituals are based on the initiates forming a circle. Here we go. The Aborigines of Australia, American Indians, and Africans. Okay? And animist rituals, as they say here, all incorporate the circle and the dance of the python among Maasai warriors and Kenya girls, okay, for their puberty rite, form a large circle that represents a snake by pressing their naked bodies front to back, one after the other, while dancing, okay? It says, now here we go, check this part, I'll skip on down. In ancient rituals, the Druids formed circles of initiates, okay, to symbolize the three circles of their religion. Druidism, or Bardism, the religion of the ancient Celts, views the universe as composed of three circles. Quagant, the void circle in Breton, is the circle of God. Gwynved, the white world, okay, and in the circle of humanity. And Abred is the abyss. Okay, now we're just going to stop right there. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the whole ritual of the circle. We're going to get into more. This is so much information, but you're going to see like a pattern of them talking about the natives, and then they're going to talk a lot about the Druids. And now that we have that understanding about how we were the Druids, our people were already there. Paul went there in Acts 29 to go see his brethren. He was up there in Britain. So we already know that those were our people. We understand that. So now that we understand what they're talking about, those rituals, we know those rituals were Hebrew rituals. And we know that the Romans were not over there until way later. But now we're going to talk about something real quick here. Inheritance, okay, or inheriting sacred places. It says, while visiting sacred places all over the world, we often feel, hold on real fast, much more alive, more energetic. our minds seem to expand and give us, the impression of being free. We are filled with a sense of awe for the beauty of the sight. Whether Tianacan in Mexico, Eora in India, Chartres in France, or Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Walking on sacred stones replenishes our energy, and thus we feel enthusiastic. Definitely, I mean, we talk about the Most High, talk about sacred area, sacred land, stuff like that. So you talk about feeling more enthusiastic, okay? Having a positive feeling, a higher frequency, okay? At the same time, as we walk on sacred stones, we enter a kind of inner peace that makes us want to sit and reconnect with our deep self. So you definitely want to do some more self-reflection, reflect on our deep self. We're not doing the whole rigmarole of ripping and running all over the place. We have a chance to, definitely reflect on ourselves and find our inner peace. Okay. Stones, check this part out. Stones, better than any other matter, retain memory. Temples are filled with a living memory of a people, of their specific connection to God and the Spirit. This is why Native Americans consider stones sacred. Wakan in the Lakota language. So we, when we build in our temples, we make those connections with the stones, building, different places, because we have these. It talks about right here, letting you know how important stones are and how important they are with maintaining or retaining memory. So now you know about building all these different places out of stones, and they're keeping our memories alive. And we're going to go through some pictures real fast and just think about all the different memories that these stones must have. All right. It says, in the ancient territory of the Celts, here we go again. See, right back into the Celts again, okay? Mainly Great Britain, France, and Germany, and even more ancient people, erected huge megalithic vertical stones. So now we understand why they're erecting these stones, okay? Because they maintain memory, how important they are, okay? So megalithic stones, vertical stones, or menhirs? And underground chambers, dolmens, okay? Tumuli and cairns. The only thing we know about the megaliths people is that they erected these stones from 6,000 BCE until the onset of the Celtic civilization. Then the Druids, priests of the Celts, used these powerful sites to perform their sacred ceremonies because they themselves didn't build temples prior to the Roman conquest. And like I said, again, we're not taking their word for absolutely anything as far as what was built and what was built before they got there. Okay. Now we understand about Stonehenge and bringing these huge stones. These stones retain what? Memory. So Stonehenge retains memory as well. These are the best, most conductive, elements, I guess, for keeping and maintaining memories. Okay. But I always want to throw in the Indo-Europeans. Well, they're going to tell us about our history, right? They're going to tell us when stuff was built and when stuff wasn't built, when they weren't even here. And they hide all the books that actually give that understanding, right? It says the Celts of France, the Celts of Gaul, led by Vercingetorix, something like that, were defeated at the Battle of Alesia in 52 BCE. And the Druids' religion was forbidden under the Roman Emperor Tiberius. Okay, early in the 1st century BCE. So it's not the best copy. Let me get the book real fast so I can continue reading. Okay. It says here the only free Druids society and priests that were left out of this huge civilization were in Great Britain and Ireland. The megaliths, okay, people knew about telluric currents, ley lines, and large cosmic telluric lines, and that their crossings points had a great spiritual and uplifting energy, and sometimes healing virtues. Hold on really fast. Sorry, I'm sitting in this squeaky chair. Oh, no. Sorry, switching here. Let's go back. Okay. So again, let me read that part again. The megalith people knew about telluric currents. Okay, so they knew about these currents, all right? Ley lines and large cosmotelluric lines, and that their crossing points had a great spiritual and uplifting energy, and sometimes healing virtues. So now you see why it's so important for them to keep us off of our ley lines, because they have more of an uplifting energy, higher frequency. Now you understand why they put their churches and their temples on our ley lines to keep us away from them, so that we would stay at that low frequency, and they could take the benefits of the uplifting energies by taking these places for themselves. Thus, what did they do? They erected standing stones at these points. Then the builders of Gallo-Roman temples and later of churches and cathedrals in France not only often though chose the same sacred sites on which to erect temples or churches, but they also managed to keep these megaliths intact while they constructed on top of them a magnificent network of old Celtic standing stones which are still visible. Is thus enmeshed within the more recent Catholic network of churches, abbeys, and cathedrals. No wonder that is around a church built in a dolmen that I saw for the first time, a Talhar field, and its spatial aspect, something rather incomprehensible for me at that time. Hold on real fast. Sorry about that. Okay. So you can see how they went ahead and just built, like I said, it's all over the world. Now we understand why they did the things that they did. They knew about this information. They knew about this spiritual and uplifting energy at these points, these ley line points. Okay. So again, let's read that part where it says, "A magnificent network of old Celtic standing stones, which are still visible, is thus enmeshed within the more recent Catholic network of churches." So they just went and just enmeshed it. They put it all together. They're taking advantage of our power, but they just built all around it on top of it in order to be able to encompass that power for themselves. Okay? So again, more recent Catholic network of churches, abbeys, and cathedrals. No wonder that it is around a church built on a dolmen that I saw for the first time a Telhar field in its spatial aspect, something rather incomprehensible for me at the time. Okay, so we're going to get more into this information, like I said, because this is very important that we understand it. We understand what the Most High is about to give back to us, and that's what's going to give back to us what we lost. Okay, the other nations have taken advantage of it, and it has been pretty much benefiting from our ley lines and that positive energy and positive power. And we know that it talked about how important stones were with maintaining memory. So now you start seeing buildings like this. This is the one that they refer to that's in India. So you go and you build on our ley lines and take advantage of our ley lines and positive energy for that time when we were, definitely cursed and everything was taken away. Okay. Now it's going to kind of give more understanding as to why certain countries are starting to get impacted with the plagues and everything else, because they were all complicit in taking our ley lines, taking it for themselves, making it seem as if it's always been for them. These buildings, they've always make it seem like the people that are there now were the ones that have always been there, and they're the ones that built all these structures. And we know that that's not true. Palenque right here. Stones have memory. The stones going to remember what happened to our people. They're going to remember our history. Remember, we have to do what? Become like children and be willing to learn everything once again. And the stones are going to definitely give us our history back as well. They're giving it to us right now because we know that we're the people that are there. It doesn't mean that they're the ones that built this. Way more sophisticated than what we were led to believe. The building of these structures. Teotihuacan. The stones have memory. They know the truth. Right here, Cancun right here. Stones have memory. Down there in Mexico. You see these beautiful structures. They know that, weren't built by the people that are already there right now. Like I said, you got to open up your mind. Know that these structures were not just, constructed by the people that were there, that they show us every single day. This was the one they referenced in France. I know that a lot of these churches are just built on top of, older churches, but they're built on the ley lines in order, when they're connecting, in order to take advantage of the power. So one right, Angkor in Cambodia right here. The stones are going to let people know, who were the ones that originated and built these places. Remember, the stones have power. He said, rocks are crying out